All right, we should be live, hopefully. Anyways, all right. So I'll give it a little bit, see if anybody shows up. So if this is your first time watching me, my name is Starseed Bey. If you're watching me on YouTube, definitely like the page, share it out, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. I talk about many different things from spirituality, the stuff that's going on around the world, and many different other subjects like we're talking about today. So definitely subscribe and like the page. You can also find me at facebook.com/realtalkadamstarseedbey. So definitely like the page, share it out. If you got any questions or concerns, that's the page to get a hold of me. I'm also on the Fringe Radio Network. I just started on there. So definitely check out the fringeradionetwork.com. There's a lot of awesome content on there. It's ran by Johnny Iron, the Iron Show. So definitely check out the Iron Show. Good stuff on there. Good brother. So yeah, so this should be interesting. This is a deep rabbit hole, that's for sure. So we're going to be talking about Lucifer, the very conspiracy theory style as well. Because if you're like me, you're born and raised in a Christian church, and you were taught about Satan and the devil and Lucifer, right? Well, Lucifer, I think, is only mentioned one time. I was going to look that up before I went live, but that's okay. But I think Lucifer is only mentioned one time. And we're taught that Lucifer is the devil, right? You know, that Lucifer's bad and that he was a fallen angel, right? He fell from heaven. He was kicked out of heaven for his evil ways, right? He was kicked out of heaven for his evil ways. And that was it. You know, that's what they taught in church, and that was it. So you would have to do your own research to discover this stuff. So, lo and behold, we got the internet, and things evolved from there, right? So Lucifer translates into the light bearer or the light bringer, right? You know, so what is so evil about a character that is named the light bringer or the light bearer, right? You know, he was kicked out of God's heaven, but yet he's considered the light bringer. And then they go on to saying, you know, that he changed his name to Satan, which Satan translates into the adversary, right? So the adversary. So this is going to be an interesting rabbit hole and a lot of stuff to cover, because there's a lot of things that really kind of intertwine. Because not only is Lucifer and Christ known as the bright morning star in the Bible, that leads into Venus, and Venus has a story of its own, which leads into Ishtar, which leads into, I hope I say this right, in Anna, something like that, in Anna. Like they're all interconnected, right? And then we know about Easter. Easter is also a form of worship for, again, Ishtar. So it's crazy. It's insane, man. So we're gonna see see how this unfolds, and we'll go from there. It's quite interesting. This really wasn't something I was planning to talk about, but let's see what we find out here. So I'm going to go ahead and read these scriptures, these very few scriptures that talk about the bright morning star, and we'll bring this stuff into light as we go. So Isaiah 14:12. How you have fallen from heaven, the universe, O star of the morning, the sons of the dawn. Now, you got to think of this too. When you're reading the Bible, when it says any reference to sun, you could do it two ways. You can either translate sun as children, or translate sons as actual suns, S-U-N, suns, the suns. You go out into the night sky, you see the stars, you see planets, right? You see Venus or Mars or whatever. What do they look like? They look like baby stars, or excuse me, baby suns. So you got all these suns in the sky. So when it references suns, they're meaning suns as S-U-N, not S-O-N. So that's something to think about when you're reading through here, because it's a big astrology book. The Bible's full of astrology, man. So again, how have you fallen from heaven, O star of the morning, sun or sons of the dawn? You have been cut down to the earth. You have weakened the nations. You have weakened the nations. And again, this is referencing Venus, because Venus is a bright star. Literally, you can see it, or a bright planet, bright sun. You can see it rise in the morning, and sometimes you can see it at night. You know, I'm not like huge into astrology, but I do know that that is the basics of seeing Venus, right? And it would look like a lesser sun, right? Because we got the big sun and then we got the little suns. So find it interesting. And it says, you have weakened the nations. You have weakened the nations, which, that could be interpreted as, because back in our ancestors' days, and a lot of people don't talk about this, but quite a few do, is that all the giants, and this is something I'll talk about in a future video. I got to get a lot of research on it. But all the giants that are talked about, or the gods that are talked about within the Bible, or within just worshiping tools, they were worshiping the planets, right? They're worshiping Saturn and Jupiter and Venus and all that stuff, right? They were worshiping all of these planets. And you got to realize too that if you read through our ancestral history, the planets were actually much closer to the planet as well. Like Saturn used to be a lot closer, so it was worshipped more, right? Just because there's such a massive thing. And it's hard to say how they ended up turning into that way. This can go into ETs, like, did beings come from Saturn or come from Jupiter, right? And then they descended onto Earth, and then they taught humanity. Is it an energy thing? Is it empathic, where they got empathic energies from the planets? It gets big. But at the end of the day, these planets can be known as giants, or the Nephilim, and these can be like big souls, single souls, whatever it is. Like I said, it's a big rabbit hole, but it's something that we got to consider when we're looking at these planets and what our ancestors were trying to tell us, or what they were worshiping, and things of that nature, right? So what I was getting at when it says you have weakened the nations, that can mean that, there's a lot of Venus worshiping going on this planet right now, and has been going on, which again goes into Ishtar, in Anna, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, the Christ character, and so on and so forth. So there's a connection there. And, at the end of the day, you should not be worshiping outside yourself. You shouldn't be worshiping the planets that are outside you, right? We already, in a way, worship the sun, but the sun is good, because what does the sun bring? It brings life. It brings, it just brings life. It gives life. The sun gives life, right? So that could be the god of this planet, would be the sun, because it gives life. So it's very interesting, very interesting. That's how my mind works. But yeah, it leads into worshiping, and that's what you see in the churches, and that's what you see in old doctrines, is worshiping outside the self. That's why Christ was all about going within yourself, because people are so distracted about the delightful. The Garden of Eden, which is this earth, the Garden of Eden is earth, the planet of delightfulness. They're so delighted with all the stuff they see that they don't focus within the self, trying to find the I am, the God within you. So yeah. So anyways, 2 Peter 1:19. So we have the prophetic word made more sure, to which you do well to pay attention, as to a lamp shining in a dark place, until the day dawns and the morning star arises in your hearts. And the morning star rises in your hearts. Now this one's a little different, because this is a prophetic word. So this means that the lamp shining in a dark place is going to be what? It's going to be a third eye, which is what? The highest point. And the highest point is what? Is Jerusalem, right? We all want to bring Jerusalem, the new Jerusalem, down to earth, right? So this is our highest point, which is Jerusalem. Or actually, hold on, I might be saying that wrong. I'm still learning these words, man. It could be Zion, which is the highest point. Yes, excuse me. So Jerusalem is the city of peace, and Zion is the highest point. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm still learning about all these words. So that's what you're looking at. So you're bringing Zion, you're reaching the point of Zion, the highest point, and then you want to bring New Jerusalem down, which is the city of peace, which comes from the highest point, which is Zion. So hopefully I clarify that. Like I said, still learning, because these words are something else. So basically, it's just tapping back into the I am, which would be a third eye, and opening up, because everything is darkness, right? when you go into deep meditation, everything's darkness, and you got to sit in that darkened state and then watch the light come to you, right? Watch the light come to you. It can be in many different ways. It can be a voice, right? You could hear Christ's voice. You could hear a voice of your guides come to you. It could be a form of a figure that presents itself in front of you, right? There's many different things that's going to shed light in this darkened state, right? Darkness is the true light at the end of the day. We're taught falsely about the darkness, be afraid of the darkness, that demons lurk in the darkness and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, darkness is our birthplace, right? Darkness is that state where you need to be at so you can learn to heal yourself and fix yourself. Yeah, you're going to find demons in that dark place. Why? Because it's the shadow self. It's the shadows that you have hidden within you. This goes into ancestral curses, things of that nature. There's stuff that's going to be in there, and a lot of people just shove it away, right? A lot of people look all happy and everything like that, but you go inside the self, you go and learn about someone's true hearts and intentions, and you can learn a lot about them. You can learn that they're very scared. You can learn that they've been hurt, or they've been abused or neglected, right? So this is that darkened state of self. We all have to reach that dark state of self to discover the true light, which, like I say, is that light of Christ, being anointed by the Spirit. That's the true anointing of the soul. And once you're anointed, that darkness does turn to light. So it's beautiful stuff, very deep. And that's something you got to discover for yourself at the end of the day. Job 38:7. When the morning stars, and it says stars, when the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of the Elohim, or all the sons of gods, or God, which is S, it should be S-U-N, not S-O-N. When all the sons of God shouted for joy. Again, Job 38:7. When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons, S-U-N-S, of God, or the Elohim, shouted for joy. Again, what does this mean? What does this represent? This means that all of the stars and the planets and things like that, they're rejoicing in I don't know how you even say it, rejoicing in the heavens, right? They're alive, they're entities. This goes into the Testament of Solomon. And the Testament of Solomon really kind of breaks down these entities that dwell within the stars or within the planets, right? Then that they manipulate humanity and the structure of humanity, right? They're all little built-in consciousness, and they could very well be us ourselves. When you look up, I've said this many times before, when you look up at the stars in the sky, you could really be looking at your very own soul, right? Your very own soul. Again, if you look up into the stars and you're called, like your focus is always on like a star constellation or even a planet, your entity or your soul can be attached to that frequency there, right? That is a part of your home. As weird as that is to say, and obviously I'm not supposed to say that because I'm getting tongue twisted. There's a connection there. As above, so below. So I really do feel that our soul really is out there, and this is a reflection of what we want to kind of experience as a whole or as a collective. It gets deep, man. It really does. It's not just about the individual experience, but it's about the collective experience as well. And it's not just from an individual aspect of ego. It's about the collective stream as a whole of what we're creating as a whole. Because we can be one entity, but we could be many entities that are sharing one soul, experiencing many different viewpoints, creating creation. And either those creations are giving life or destroying life. And I've talked about that before. And the universe wants life to evolve and expand and grow into new ways of existence. But if there's souls that are destroying and limiting the experience or that connection, it gets deep and it gets really really weird. And this is where you go into the book of life or the book of death. There's two books, and not many people talk about this. The book of life is all about creation, and creating and expanding creation, right? The book of death is a book that is about just destruction, and there's nothing there. There's no fruit to gain or blossom from there. So those souls, obviously, or those state of consciousness, is obviously not going to continue in that book of life, because it has limited itself into a chaotic state that can't vibrate in that same level. And hopefully that makes sense. I don't know how else to really explain it. But yeah, so at the end of the day, you want to be part of the book of life, not the book of death. And I think that's kind of what, in some ways, the second death is talked about. But in a lot of ways, the second death can also be the self-realization. I know I'm getting off topic here, but the second death can be the self-realization that you are living in a matrix structure, a holographic structure that has persuaded you away from what your birthright, which is your soul, and it's taken you away. This Garden of Eden, Earth is the Garden of Eden. This whole planet is the Garden of Eden, which translates to the planet of delightfulness. It has confused you and led you astray from your birthright, which is within you, which is what Christ was all about. Go back into the I am. That is what it is. Go back into the I am, because this delightful place will distract you like crazy. So, anyways. Alrighty then. Revelations 22:16. I, Christ, have sent my messengers to testify to these things for the bodies or the temples. It says churches, but it's temple or the bodies, right? The bodies, which would be our body, right? Our church is the body. So my messengers testify to these things for the body of the I am. I am the root and the descendant of David. So let me read this in a simpler term so you guys don't lose me here. So Revelation 22:16. I, Christ, have sent my messengers to testify to you these things for the churches, the body. I am the root and the descendant of David. And David translates into beloved. I am the descendants of the beloved. The bright morning star. The bright morning star, which again would be Venus. And we're going to start talking about Ishtar here in a second, because this really leads into that as well. Because does this mean, is Christ really a feminine energy? Is Christ really a woman, right? Because we're so used to the story of Christ being a male, because when you read the Bible, it's all about the father and the sons, the father and the sons. Well, where's the beauty of the mother and the daughters, right? Mother and daughters are talked about in there. There's some great women that are in the Bible, don't get me wrong, because people always blast me for that. But you got to realize that the people who translated the Bible were who? They were the Vatican and the Catholics. And I'm sure there's a lot more to that. But at the end of the day, you look at the Vatican and just kind of the male aspects that they go through, right? You know, that they spread the energy out there. A lot of nasty things happen within the Vatican field, right? You know, and I'm not going to go down that road. You guys already are well aware of the stuff that happens with the Vatican and the Catholic churches. So you definitely know about that. But there's a lot of lustfulness and just hatefulness. That's what I see, is hatefulness towards women, and just the women in general, right? I don't know why, right? I don't know why there's so much focus on the father and the sons. To me, and I've said this story many times before, you know, that really the true rulers of this world are the queens. True queens of this world. The true queens are the ones who take care of the children, who nurture life and existence, who take care of their king. That mother instinct, right? Whether you're a daughter or a woman or a girl, whatever it is, the instincts of a woman is love. And that mother instinct is always in there. So even when she has a husband, right? You get married and you go to your queen, right? You break down. A king behind the scenes will break down in front of his queen, and the queen will take care of the king. At the end of the day, the queens are the true rulers of this world, because true queens are very mature minded, and they're here to aid us. A true king is designed to flourish the kingdom and stand up and be that inspiration, right? Go out and work out in the fields, right? It's the way it should be, right? People are in a state of confusion right now, right? The identity crisis. And I'll bring this up. Identity crisis, right? Someone's born into a male body, they think they're female. A soul is born into a female body, but they think they're a male. They're confused by ego. They're confused by this delightful state, right? Who told them that they were a female to begin with? Well, they were dressed in dresses and played with dolls. I don't mean nothing. I played Barbies with my sister. Was I confused? Did I have a gender identity thing? No, I just wanted to have fun. I just want to have fun, man. And a lot of times we get into a confused state is that we're told we can't play with dolls, right? You tell a child that they can't do something, and if they're a more curious child, they're going to try every means possible to do what you told them not to do, right? Some kids are good and they'll listen to their parents. They're like, all right, I was told not to do this, I'm not going to go do that. But you got other children that are like, oh, I was told not to do this. Psh, well, I'm going to go out there and go do it. I want to go see what happens. I'll see what the consequences happen. What kind of consequences I will experience after I've done it. It's just the mindset of people. I've met lots of people that have that mindset. Like you literally tell them why their life is crap, and because you told them their life is crap, they continue to do that and continue to have a crappy life because they want to not allow you to prove that what you said was actually true at the end of the day. You got very stubborn people out there. You really do. So this is why I say, family values is lost and needs to be brought back. Spirituality needs to be brought back in a way that is talked about to a diverse audience, right? We live in in a world of Babylon, right? Babylon transits into the state of confusion. Everybody's confused. They don't know who they are, what they are. They're born into a body. They don't even know what they are. It's a mess, right, man? I got friends who are gay and lesbians, and I respect them for who they are, and I respect their diversity, right? That's their path they've chosen. But it's when you have news or perceived experts that say, hey, you need to explain to your child about identity and what do they feel they are despite their body they were born in. Dude, they're little kids, man. They ain't gonna know no better. And that's part of brainwashing. That is part of brainwashing. And we have to speak up about it. Not like, oh, we gotta torment the parents who chose to give their child that experience. No. We gotta bring a mature reason behind this stuff, and not be preaching everything. We just got to be mature-minded in these things, right? People are diverse, experimentative, right? People don't know who they are or what they do, right, at the end of the day. But you just got to be respectful for every single person for the choices that they make, because they have made that choice. When they become an adult, they have made that choice. All we can do is spread light and words of wisdom, and allow them to make their own decisions. But at the end of the day, what is spirituality at the end of the day? It's about self-healing, self-structuring, going back into the I am self, discovering the Christ within you, being anointed by the Spirit, and rediscovering your birthright, which is your soul. And at the end of the day, that's going to restructure your whole world, right? Because you're so used to this outside world and what everybody tells you. When you go within yourself, it's a whole new realm, and you're just like, whoa, what's going on, right? You watch the Matrix movie, right? The first one. You watch the first Matrix movie, and you realize that your whole world is a lie. It's a hologram. And it can be a culture shock. It will just hit you right in the head, and you're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting this. And once you're awake, that's it. There ain't no going back. A lot of times I would like to go back and just be kind of where I was. But it will never happen. I don't want to go back to that state. But, once you venture in the rabbit hole and you open up that door, it opens up just a whole new realm of existence. And that's why Christ said, I am the way, truth, and life. No one goes to the Father or the heavens except through me. So you got to discover a whole new realm within you. You got to go to Zion, which translates as the highest point within you, which is your third eye, and then have a conversation within the I am. Because what is Yahweh, or what is translated, right? Moses asked what was God's name, and God's name was I am that I am, or also translates as the self-existing one. So we exist within the self. So it gets deep on so many levels. So I know I'm getting off topic here, but at the end of the day, it all goes back into one place, right? Going within the self, learning more about you, and learning about your birthright, which is your soul. And once you claim back your birthright, you see with new eyes and hear with new ears. It's astonishing, it really is. And that's what we have to bring back. So at the end of the day, that's why we have to look when we're reading the Bible, that there's something not right when you read it, right? There has to be a reason why the mother aspect was taken out, and there has to be a reason why women as a whole are not fully embraced, right? They try to bring the father figure dominance. And again, you go back to the old churches, and this is why the father of the household would always be so aggressive. And there's even a scripture in the Bible saying that the wife needs to submit to the husband. And the guys, stupid guys, got that in their thick head that, that the woman needs to bow down to me because I am the leader of this household. No, it was never meant to be that way. There was false teachings that was created back in those days. So we need to respect our queens. We need to also respect the kings in a balanced state of being. And that's something that a lot of people are not used to. So we got to bring that back. We got to bring that queen element back, true queen element back, that we have to have these mothers within our lives, right? Some people never had mothers, so they never experienced that. So if they meet a woman, right, that's a true queen, they'll realize the love from her, and also a motherly love as well, because at the end of the day, all girls who turn into women really are mothers at the end of the day. So it's beautiful stuff, and it's something that we got to bring back, definitely at the end of the day. Let's see here. I'll read a couple more, and then we'll adventure into a deep rabbit hole. Excuse me, drinking water there. All right. Revelations 2:28. and I will give him the morning star. And there's a much bigger scripture for that. So definitely check out Revelations 2. Read through that. But basically, and I will give him the morning star. And at the end of the day, that can be a representation of again, just getting back into our birthplace, right? Being anointed. Christ translates into the anointing of the Spirit, the true anointing of the Spirit. It's just being awakened and aware of your birthplace. Numbers 24:17. I see him. Oh, this is an interesting one. I had to do some research, and I was like, My son was like, man, what are you doing over there, Dad? I was like, well, it's just research, man. So let me read this, and I'll give you some interesting info real quick. Numbers 24:17. I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. A star shall come forth from Jacob. Now here's the interesting thing. So Jacob translates again to heel catcher, offender, wrongdoer, or illegally occupied. So again, a star shall come forth from the offenders, the wrongdoers. A scepter shall rise from Israel, and Israel means to fight or to contend. A scepter shall rise from the contenders, the wrongdoers, right? Jacob is translated as the wrongdoer. So a scepter shall rise from the wrongdoers, the contenders, and shall crush through the foreheads of Moab, which Moab translates to of his fathers, and shall crush through the forehead of the fathers, or of the seeds of children or generations, and tear down all the sons of Sheath. And again, sons can be S-U-N, but it can also be children on the world. And Sheath represents an appointed time or an event or scheduled. And tear down all the sons or all the children at an appointed time. And in Revelations it talks about an appointed time as well. So I found that interesting. Again, there is a story within a story in the Bible that speaks universally to everybody. The Bible we read now, with all these Moabs and Sheaths and Jacobs and Pauls and all that stuff, is a story that was created for the churches to distract you. But there's a universal story within the Bible that can be shared with everyone. It can be shared with a diverse world. It can be shared in one language, and this is what's talked about in the Bible again, right? Everybody spoke one language, but then were scattered and they couldn't talk to each other because of this right here. The Bible here was translated so many times that everybody speaks a different language now, right? It just, in one aspect anyways. There's so many more that you can go, but as a whole, I've said this before, that the Bible is the number one tool that's going to speak to everybody, but you're going to have to speak it in a diverse way. At the end of the day, you got to speak it in a diverse way. So definitely look into that as well. So I found that rather interesting. I'm going to definitely probably post that on Facebook just as a reminder for myself and just to let everybody read, because that's what I'm all about, is research, man. Research is key, because as you research more, you not only gain knowledge and wisdom of the world, right, but you also gain knowledge and wisdom of the Spirit, and you begin to be more in tune and have a better understanding of what your soul is, or what the I am is. So many people don't know what the I am is. So many people don't even know where to begin to have a relationship with Christ, or where to begin to have a relationship with the Creator. They don't know. I've talked to so many people online. It's crazy that people don't know. They don't even know where to begin. They don't even know how to say a prayer. They don't know how to meditate. They don't know what they're looking for in meditation. And they're only being led by monkey see, monkey do. Oh, well, if this worked for them, this will work for me. And it doesn't work that way, because you have your own spiritual journey, and things are only going to speak to you in a way that will make sense to you. But you got to have a relationship, or that third perception of having that conversation with the self or having that conversation with Christ, right? You got to build that faith with your guide, the inner intuition, right? You know, that voice that says, hey, you shouldn't go to that party. But you go to that party and then you're like, man, I should have listened to that voice. But people don't question, go, well, where did that voice come from? What is that voice? Why did that voice acknowledge me? Why haven't I communicated with that voice before? You know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's crazy if you talk to your voice that's talking back. But if this voice is telling you, hey, don't go to that party, you go to that party and something bad happened, well, obviously there's some good to that voice that's speaking to you. So that's that first spiritual encounter you have. And that's that spiritual encounter you're going to have as a guide to go within you to discover the I am that Christ talked about when he was here. So it's deep stuff, and it's something that you have to figure out, but we have to bring it back as well. We have to bring those teachings back. And like myself, I need to start my classes so I can spread that seed too, so then others can spread that seed as well. Because I may be one voice, but this one voice has to carry on to the generations after me. So this stuff is not lost, because this teachings were lost, and you could tell the fires coming out within me. This stuff was lost, and now we're bringing it back, and we have to maintain it. We have to bring it back, and we have to be writing stuff down too. You know, I think this is one of the key things that we really need to be aware of in a digital world. Just like myself, you know, I finally have a stable book that I am talking to my phone, right? Talking to my phone, having it get everything ready, and then I got to write it down on a piece of paper. But with it being a digital world, and if you don't write your book down in the physical world and something happens in the digital world, you lose your work. So you want to be able to have documentations of what you discover, of what you've learned, because at the end of the day, if the internet's taken away, there got to be something we can go by. Because how did they discover the diaries that became the Bible, right? A lot of people don't realize that the Bible is just a diary or a logbook of what happened at that point in time. And also, the Bible is something that is dated way before that too, right? You know, it's a history book, but it's also stuff that came back from ancient ancestors that taught us the right ways of things that didn't involve creating a Paul and a Peter and a Christ and all that stuff as well. The universal oneness that brought us together in the first place, which is what I'm trying to help you guys get back to. So yeah, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So far, you know, I've found a couple of people online that have read the Bible in this way. And I just want to make sure that I'm a seed that's continuing that conversation. So yeah. So anyways, so let's go ahead and we will venture into the rabbit hole of Venus, Ishtar, and Inanna, which I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Inanna. Inanna. Sounds like it to me. So anyways, so Venus is the second planet from the sun, right? The second sun. So again, if you look outside and you look at the sun that gives life, that at the end of the day is the God of this world, because it gives life. It gives life. And then you got the moon, which is artificial, which is the artificial sun, right? And the moon also can be tied into Lilith. Again, read the testimony of Solomon. And Lilith is the ruler of the night, right? So it's quite interesting, it really is. So Venus is the second sun, which means this is why Christ, Jesus Christ, Yeshua, is known as the Son of God, because Venus looks like a little sun next to the big sun, right? So that's what we got with Venus. So Christ at the end of the day is Venus, right? Christ at the end of the day is Venus. So on and so forth. Let's see here. The name Venus is named after the Roman goddess of love and beauty, right? So, which is interesting as well, because our ancient ancestors named these planets, and they mean something, right? They mean something. And I think that's about it. So let's see. So Venus is the second sun of the sun we see in the sky, right? And there's a lot of other things that we can look at with the sun as well. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I really do feel that each planet has its own sun. And we're well aware that there's a firmament that is over this planet, right? The firmament. And within that firmament is the stars, is the moon, and is a sun, or a reflection of a sun. Not the universal sun, but its own sun itself, which makes sense to me. From a scientific perception, it would have to be that way, because when you look at how far suppose the real sun is, right? Because I did this on Google Earth and I was just astonished, because I was like, where the heck is the sun? And I had to zoom, and the Earth just totally disappeared. And I finally got to the sun. I'm like, man, this makes no sense. What the heck? The sun is so far away. How do we even see the sun in the sky? What it means so far away? Whoa, it's so big. But no, it's not. There's something more to it, right? All I can do is just do theories. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to turn it to be more facts than theories at the end of the day. There's just too much facts that are out there to not be disproven. So, but yeah, so at the end of the day, Venus is the second sun, which is Christ as well, outside the self, right? Outside worship is Venus, which is Christ. So then we go into, because that is the goes to the Roman goddess of love and beauty. So this leads into Ishtar, which the true name, I guess, is, like I said, in Anna. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Which is associated with love, beauty. I'm going to say bonding here, right? We got the word sex, but at the end of the day, it's just a bonding where two bodies become one, right? A bonding. So we got love, beauty, bonding. And it sounds beautiful saying it that way. Bonding. Bonding of people. It can be desire, fertility, war, battle, justice, and political power. Political power. So this is why Venus is worshipped so much, because look at all the titles that have been given, all this energy that's been given to Venus, right? A lot of energy is going to this Venus planet. And I've said this before, if you focus on something, you're going to create it into something, right? Same way with Jesus Christ, right? Jesus Christ is the anointing of the Spirit, right? Is it Latin? I think it's Latin, is that. And then Jesus is Jesus, which can go into Thor as well. But at the end of the day, saying the name Jesus Christ, you have given it energy source, right? You have given it a little pocket. So people have created Jesus Christ, and they have it in their mindset. Oh, Jesus Christ. So power of the words, right? Power of the words. So you've created this little bubble of energy, this bubble of consciousness, and you feed this bubble of consciousness. So Jesus Christ saved me, and then you got thousands and thousands of millions of people who be like, Jesus Christ saved me. It grows bigger. And then Jesus Christ saved me from so and so. Hey, Jesus Christ, I asked you to come into my life. Jesus Christ, I asked you to come into my life. Jesus Christ saves. He saves many. And it just keeps expanding more and more and more, where you've created its own energy, or you've created an own entity, which would be Jesus Christ, should be an entity that humanity has put their energy into, that have put into the ethers. You have created your own deity within the ethers. And it's not a bad thing, because Jesus Christ is what? Is a loving energy. It's a loving source. You've got, throughout history, when they created the Jesus Christ character, they have given it energy. And it's good energy. So it's good vibration, right? So at the end of the day, it's not a bad thing. It's just It's just an incorrect way of leading people into something they don't understand at the end of the day. Whoa. But so that sounded interesting here. Hopefully I didn't lose sound. I got this thing for my phone here and it just popped out. That'll wake you up. Alright, give me a second here on Facebook. Probably talking about stuff I shouldn't talk about. Oh, but I think you should be talking about it. And if I wasn't meant to talk about it, I'd be kicked off. So, yeah. So hopefully it won't kick off. That definitely woke me up. I was like, what the heck is that, man? I bet you it sounded weird from your end. But hopefully you guys can still hear me on Facebook, hopefully. If not, you can check it on YouTube. So yeah, so at the end of the day, now I kind of lost track of what I was talking about. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're putting energy into everything. And even if it's a loving energy, that's fine. Jesus Christ is a loving energy. And it helps so many people, right? And it works. You know, it's a good thing to have within the ethers, right? Within the ethers. And that's our job, is to maintain the ethers as well, right? This goes into the elementals and all that as well. But we got to be able to balance out the ethers as well, because there's a lot of negative forces within the ethers. So we got to be able to balance both of them out. I'm going to go ahead and unplug this and plug it back in. Hopefully it's working. Alright, so yeah, so it is quite interesting. It really is. And this is how my mind works. You know, when I went to deep meditation and I just really dug deep into the ethers and just learning about all this stuff and having, you know, God show me all this stuff on how the world works, I was like, what in tarnation is all this, right? Because at the end of the day, everything is frequency, vibration, energy. It's everything. It's crazy. Let's see here. Hold on a sec here. Alright. So anyways, I got stuff going on all over the place here. So yeah, so at the end of the day, we got to realize what we're focusing on. So many people have their focus on the Jesus Christ energy, which is great because it's building a positiveness into the ethers. But we got to go deeper and acknowledge the I am self within you and discover the soul within you, so you can claim back your birthright and get anointed by Christ, be anointed by the Spirit, and then claim back that birthright. So then you can actually be able to help change the ethers a little more, or have a better understanding how the ethers work and how energy works and things of that nature as well. So it's baby steps. It's baby steps all the way. You know, I'm here just to help you guys do research and go from there, right? You know, whatever is said in this video is either for you or not for you at the end of the day. So yeah, so just be aware of that. So anyways, so in Anna, or Ishtar, was originally worshipped in Sumer and was later worshipped by blah blah blah. She was known as the Queen of Heaven. This was the interesting thing, right? So Ishtar, or in Anna, she was known as the Queen of the Heavens, or the Queens of the Universe, and was the patron goddess of whatever. She was associated with the planet Venus, and her most prominent symbols, get this, her most prominent symbols included the lion and the 8-pointed star. The lion and the 8-pointed star. Quite interesting, huh? Man, I think this thing's going to fly off again. So I find that rather interesting as well, because, you know, the tribe of Judah, right? Lion. There's a lot of lion references in there. 8-pointed star, again, you can look at different elements of what the 8-pointed star is. Again, if you get two triangles, and you put them together, as above, so below, you also get a star as well, right? This also goes into the Star of David, or the Star of the Beloved. This just goes down a lot of different rabbit holes, which people don't realize. And that's what we got to do more research on. It's the Star of the Beloved. And what's the Star of the Beloved? It's Ishtar. It's in Anna. It's the energy that everybody focuses on. That's why when you go into the occults, and I was having a big conversation that really caught some people's attention, is that if you talk to people, they say that they're also talking to Lucifer or Venus, or they love Christ, right? They love Christ. Of course they love Christ, because what do they focus their energy on? Which would be Venus, which would be Ishtar, right? And at the end of the day, those who go to church don't have an understanding of what's being presented to them within the Bible, right? Just the monkey see, monkey do element. They're like, oh, okay, I love Jesus Christ. All right, cool. But they don't understand that the main thing was Venus they're talking about, and it's the sun of the sun that's in the sky, which is also would be the queen. So you'd have you could view, I guess, the main sun as the father, and then the little sun would be the queen, right? It's just, there's so many different elements that you can do with that. So that's why I said earlier about the energy of Jesus Christ, is that people focus their energy on something they don't know, on something they don't understand, on something they just believe in. Because what is belief? Belief is just something you don't know if it's real, you don't know if it's true, you're just going by it. Be like, oh, Jesus Christ saved me, all right, that's what I believe in. Jesus Christ saved me, all right, life is good. Okay, that's a lot of people's mindsets. So you're continuously feeding that energy, or that consciousness known as Jesus Christ. So quite interesting. I don't have all the answers. All I can do is just share with you guys what my understandings are, what Christ has showed me, what the Creator has shown me, and what needs to be presented to you guys for whoever this message is for, right? So at the end of the day, it's all about planting seeds and furthering the research farther, so we can get out of the dogma of churches, so we can have a better understanding of spirituality. Because what is life? What is life? Okay, life is not about this physical reality. This physical reality is to test us, it's to strengthen us, and it's to aid us to get back to where? To get back into the I am. But sometimes so many people get lost in this physical reality that they lose their birthright completely. They lose their soul completely, right? So we have to bring back spirituality in the way that's diverse, in a way that's universal, and in a way that's not shadowed by dogma, right? Because I had a hard time talking about Christ in my earlier videos because of the dogma that was attached to it. So I had to really change the way that I talked. It was still apparent, and I still let people know that Christ was my foundation, but at the end of the day, I really had to change my words. So that's just something that we have to learn at the end of the day, is that we're heading into a new paradigm, and we're trying to aid and help people get back into that I am state, to learn how to love themselves, to know that they are worthy, right? That there's self-worth within them. I had a conversation about that. I put a little quote, I don't remember what I put on there, but people lack self-love and they lack self-worth. So many people I've talked to have said, that Christ is my Savior and my salvation, but they don't trust themselves. They give this answer of, hey, I don't trust myself. I can't adventure into myself because I don't trust what I'll find. I'm scared to find what's in there. Christ said to go within you and discover what is in you, right? If you're scared to go inside yourself, you're scared to go see what exists within you, right? The self-existing one. If you're scared to discover what exists within you, then you've really discovered nothing. That is truth and honesty right there. You have not discovered nothing. You have not discovered the true anointing of Christ within you if you're not even willing to go within yourself, to face your demons, to face your fears, and to look into the unknown that you're so scared of, right? And again, people don't even know where to begin to do that. So you have to go into spiritual practices, which are labeled New Age practices, which are labeled demonic practices, which totally throw people off who are looking and searching for Christ. And then when people who love Christ and have been anointed with the Christ go into the practices that are labeled New Age, and then they get kicked out of their churches because they think that they're performing magic stuff. And it's a mess, man. It's a mess. And that's my frustration, is because it's so simple, but humanity has made it so complex. The Western world has made it really complex. You know, you go around in other countries, they kind of have a more solid foundation of what they believe, what they have faith in, what God they worship, and things of that nature, right? It's more constructed. But here in the United States, it's so diverse and so out there. There's a lack of knowledge and wisdom there, and people don't know where to even begin. So, you know, it's people like me and other people that are out there trying to help aid you guys to discover that true love is within you. You got to learn how to heal yourself, fix yourself, get rid of the shadows within you, become one with the shadows within you, because you have to accept that those shadow beings within you are you. They're a part of you, whether they're horrible memories or, you know, just something, a potential that you never knew you had, right? You know, you never thought you can make videos, and then all of a sudden you can make videos now. So, you know, it's just, there's so many elements that deal within, and you have to heal yourself and fix yourself. And that's what I talked about in a previous video about putting your armor on. You know, you can't just go into the battlefield without any knowledge of how to protect yourself and fight off the enemy, right? You'll get mutilated. You'll be gone. Being like, all right, Adam, we're putting you in the front of the line. You need to lead the army in. I don't know what I'm doing. It don't matter. You got to go. So, you know, you got to prepare yourself before you enter the battlefield, which is this physical reality. And then you got to bring Zion to the world, and you got to bring the New Jerusalem, city of peace, to the world. Zion, highest point up here, which is the pineal gland for those listening just audio, the third eye. And then Jerusalem translates to the city of Shalom, or the city of peace. The New Jerusalem, we're bringing the city of peace to the world again, and helping people discover what a spiritual journey is, and how to discover how to heal and fix themselves. And then we allow their fruits to shine, and then they go out and help people. And it's just creating a new way of existence, and just helping people learn on how to talk with each other, right? Becoming one and connected. Getting a little deep there, but at the end of the day, you know, it's all about just that universal NWO, New World Order of Christ, NWOC, New World Order of Christ, right? You know, that's what we're bringing. We're bringing a new world order in. We want a new world order, right? You know, people read it in the Bible, Revelations. Oh, beware of the NWO. Why are you allowing somebody to tell you that the NWO is evil? When at the end of the day, you know, we can create a new world order that is Christ-centered, that is spiritually centered to help people, right? You know, that's what we're bringing. You know, that's a positive thing. Spread the good news. People are consistently spreading bad news that the NWO is bad. Well, the New World Order of Christ is not bad. You know, you want that. You want to bring the new city of Jerusalem, the city of Shalom, the city of peace to the world, then you have to bring it. You're going to be the one that's going to bring it, right? we could talk about other things, but as a whole, we need to focus on us and fix ourselves to have a better understanding of what's going on in this physical reality. And at the end of the day, that's why I was talking about this energy, Ishtar in Anna. At the end of the day, is what people are worshiping. At the end of the day, what is Ishtar? Again, look into Easter, which is a huge ritual for Ishtar as well, which is not a bad thing. See, and that's the thing that people again misunderstand. What made Ishtar bad in the first place? Okay, so let me read this again. Ishtar is associated with love. Love is good. With beauty. You got to learn to love yourself. Okay, sex. Turn that word into bonding. Bonding with a male and a female together as one. And what happens with bonding? You create a child. You create life. That's beautiful. Creating life. Bonding. Okay, bonding. Desires. What are desires? That's where you look inside yourself. What do you desire? Do you desire to bring good news into the world, or do you desire to bring bad news into the world? State of balance. Ishtar, state of balance. Fertility, again, life, growth, nurture. Battle, war. What is that? Again, it's going to go into the chaotic state within the self. You're going to have a chaotic state within you. You have to learn how to balance that. In the physical reality, you're going to have a battlefield that you're going to have to deal with outside yourself. You're going to learn how to handle it. You're going to have to learn to adapt to it and learn on how to fix the battlefield and survive on the battlefield, right? And justice, right? Justice, justifying your actions at the end of the day. That leads more into maturity of the mind, just being mature about what you do. And then political power, again, that would have to involve authority or ruling, right? Things of that nature. So at the end of the day, that is what Ishtar is. And people read too much into it and not understand the universal aspect of it. Okay? Venus, the bright morning star. Christ, Lucifer. Lucifer translates into light bringer, right? Ishtar in Anna, the queen of the heavens, which brings all of the categories of life, which is life. And what is life? The book of life. Ishtar is the book of life. So at the end of the day, you open it up, what do you get? When you get back into your birthplace, your soul, you do discover Ishtar at the end of the day. You learn about love. You learn about beauty. You learn about bonding, right? Sex. Learn about bonding. Desires. Good desires, bad desires. Fertility. Life. Learning how to grow and blossom. War. Battle within the self, right? The battle of the angels and demons. Justice, justification, maturity in the mind, and then of course political power would be authority, and things of that nature as well. So at the end of the day, that's it. That is it. So many people make all of these videos about Ishtar, and that Easter is bad and Ishtar is bad, and these occults are worshiping the devil and Ishtar and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, Ishtar is Christ, and Christ is Lucifer, the morning star at the end of the day. But the true Ishtar, Christ, is within you. It's the I am within you, and that's all you need, is to go within you. This is why I've been trying to tell you guys that this earth is the Garden of Eden, the Eden of delightfulness. People are eating off the fruits. The serpents, the bad serpents, are giving you all these apples, and going, ooh, this apple tastes good. Ooh, this apple tastes good. Ooh, this apple tastes good. Right? People are giving you apples all over the place, right? The apple tastes good, but it's bitter on the inside. This reminds me of the scroll, right? Where it was pleasing to the eye. He ate it, tasted like honey, and then it was bitter. It was bitter when it went down, right? It was just bitter. So, that can be a representation of what we're being fed in this physical world, from churches, from other spiritual practices, and things of that nature around all cultures of life, right? At the end of the day, there is one universal thing that we are all connected to, and that is claiming back our birthright, which is our soul. So, wow. So that's something interesting, something I wasn't expecting to find at the end of the day, doing this little research. But, it makes a lot of sense at the end of the day. So Ishtar, not bad. And everything's all connected, right? Everything is connected at the end of the day. God is everything. The Creator is everything. I am is everything, right? Both the good and the bad. So, and we're here to spread the good news and change the flow of the ethers, right? Change the flow of the ethers at the end of the day. And I know a lot of people don't understand what that means or how to be a part of that, but just know, that you're there, that you right now just need to learn to heal yourself, fix yourself, discover your birthright, which is your soul, be anointed with the Spirit, which would be Christ-centered, right? Christ-centered. Heal yourself, fix yourself, and then venture out there. And you're going to change the ethers just doing that alone. We got a lot of people behind the scenes that play in the ethers. And it's something you definitely don't want to play into unless if you're fully aware and prepared. But secretly, we do play in the ethers when we sleep. We just don't know it. Your dreams may hint at it, but yeah, you don't realize that you really play a big part in the ethers, aka the spirit realm, more than you know as well. So yeah. So what did we learn today? We learned that Ishtar isn't bad. That Ishtar is Christ, is Venus, and that all the suns in the sky really are the planets, right? And that God could be the big sun that gives life and things of that nature. So we just got to expand our awareness, right? We got to quit limiting ourselves to what we're being taught at the end of the day. So someone says, hey, Ishtar is evil, all the cults are worshiping the Ishtar. Well, go research it. Put the pieces of the puzzle together. The Bible even said, hey, the bright morning star. Oh, it's Venus. Oh, okay, Ishtar. Oh, in Anna. Oh, wow, she's the queen of heaven. Okay, well, what's going on here? And, like I said, I think a lot of people get thrown off when they read sex because they think of all of the stuff. But if you just switch the word to bonding, just bonding, of a male and a female bonding into one, then it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. And it's about maturity. Our ancient ancestors were about maturity. The true ancient ancestors were about maturity, were about spiritual practices that didn't involve any kind of barbaric acts or lustfulness. Nothing, man. Nothing. There was no need for that. True spiritual practices happened within the self. True spiritual practices happened within the ethers, which would be the astral world. And it's just, it gets deep on so many levels. It's the stuff that's been lost. People have been brainwashed to all of these false prophets at the end of the day, right? Somebody that says Ishtar is evil, they're a false prophet because they have no idea what they are even talking about. They don't even know where to begin because they're so brainwashed about what somebody else told them. That, oh, well, Ishtar's attached to Illuminati and things like that. So they venture into a rabbit hole without doing their own research. They just hear stuff. They pay attention to the bad news, but they don't pay attention to the origins. And they don't go within to find out the answers. Spend that time with with God within you. Spend that time with Christ within you. Have that conversation. Be like, hey, I'm looking to this Ishtar character. What is this? Right? And then again, that's what the Spirit showed me. Love, beauty, bonding, desire, fertility, war, justice, political power. What is the definition between each of those words? Look in the dictionary of what these words mean. The dictionary is your best friend. The dictionary is your best friend. If there's 2 books you need, is the Bible, but know what you're reading, and the dictionary. So you know, again, what you're reading. That dictionary should be your Bible as well at the end of the day. So yeah, so anyways, I could go on forever. So it's definitely been an interesting video. So love yourself. Keep shining bright. Just realize at the end of the day, you really don't know nothing. I don't know a lot of stuff. I know something, but I don't know everything. So we just got to continue to learn, research, grow within Christ, within you. Just take that time to go within you and discover what is real, what is true. Look past the beliefs and just get balanced within your life, right? Learn about that love within you. Give yourself respect for yourself. Man, respect is key. You got to learn to love yourself and respect yourself. And then discover the Christ within you, be anointed by the Spirit, gain back your birthright, which would be your soul, and then adventure into a whole new realm and spread the good news of, hey, I went within me, I learned about love, and I learned about this stuff. Like Christ showed me these things. I don't know what they all mean, but Christ showed me these. Share them in videos and get your testimony out there so then people can hear and listen about your book of life, my book of life, your book of life. We are expanding and creating and changing the ethers every time we speak. Timelines, again, timelines is something I got to talk about again. People have been talking about timelines a lot. The Christian community is talking about timelines, which is great, beautiful. Do they fully understand timelines? They're getting there, because then this goes into multi-timelines, but I ain't going to get into that yet. So, but I've talked about it many times before. So yeah, so heal yourself, fix yourself, trust yourself, love yourself. You are worth something. You have self-worth. Learn about praying, learn about meditation, and just figure things out for yourself. You can do it. If you hear someone talk, you hear me talk, go do research. Oh man, Adam was talking a lot about Ishtar, man, a lot of stuff. Let me go do research and see what he was talking about. And that's what my videos are here for at the end of the day, is to help you in your research. So yeah, so anyways, I could talk on forever. So love yourself, keep shining bright. Again, if this is your first time watching me, if you're watching me on YouTube, definitely like the page, subscribe, turn on notifications, share it out there. Just type in Starseed Bey and you'll find me on YouTube. I'm on Facebook.com/Real Talk Adam Starseed Bey. That's the page you can get a hold of me. And my main page right now, so you can check out my live videos that I post on there and things of that nature. And then I'm also on the Fringe Radio Network, so definitely go to thefringeradionetwork.com and check that stuff out. It's ran by Johnny Iron and I think another guy, but I know Johnny Iron, The Iron Show. Check his show out as well. I'm also on Spreaker as well, and I'll get that link up once it begins to blossom into something. So yeah, so anyways, this was Starseed Bey, and I'll talk to y'all later.